Hi guys, it's Liam from Greenwave Guiding. I'm just going to go through some tips and tricks that I've picked up for portaging and packing for lightweight-ish canoe expeditions at the moment. So we're just going to go through some options for how to use our trolley and considerations when we're packing and how to move the canoe out the water efficiently for trips and expeditions. If we know we're going to do some trolleying on our canoe expedition, I definitely want to consider the amount of kit I've got with me. If I'm doing something like the Great Glen Way, I know my portages are going to be maximum 500 metres and they're going to be over nice, easy, mostly tarmac terrain. I can probably carry a little bit more and it doesn't matter if I go a bit over. But as the things start to get a little bit more remote and wild, I really want to start narrowing the amount of kit to essentials and maybe thinking about more lightweight options for food along the way as well. So if I'm going for multi-day exped and I know can come across some reasonable sized portages, you know, we might be starting talking kilometres here, then I'll think about having one large bag. It's got my camping stuff in, some spare clothes, maybe some group kit, and my sleeping bag and my sleeping mat are all in there. Things that I'm probably not going to need for during the day. And then I'll also have this smaller bag, and that might have some of my food in it, my lunch stuff, and a spare jumper for the day if I start to get cold. It might have sun cream in it, things like that. But two bags, this one's probably 20 litres and this larger one is 100 litres that I've not filled up to the max by any stretch at the moment. So thinking about those two bags, the nice thing about this bag is it's got rucksack capabilities on the back, so if I'm walking for a bit, I can get this on my back and then I can just have my small food pack in the canoe. But for now, while we're getting loaded up onto the trolley, we're going to leave these bags out of the boat to make our life a bit easier. Looked at bags, and obviously on a trip you're going to have your personal paddle gear, your buoyancy aid, your dry suit or your two-piece, along with your paddles and poles, probably a sail as well. We're just going to have a quick look at Portage trolley options. For me, I've got this large one here with, it has got inner tubes in these tyres here, so something to think about when picking a portage trolley is I like these. They've got, because of the tubes, they do well on off-road terrain. If there's lumps and bumps, these can tackle that terrain well, but if we end up with a puncture in the wilderness, that can be a bit of a game ender, a trip problem. So certainly before I head out, I want to check that these are inflated and stay inflated. This one's got a little shredder valve in there that you can use a bike pump to top up, and I'll check that before I go on an exped through experience. These then fit onto the main body of your trolley. This one has a max of 80 kg. So again, thinking about how much load we want to put on this over some of the terrain we're going to take it on. So we've got our canoe here, and that's probably going to be 45 kilos, and we want to make sure the water's out of it as well beforehand. But we can probably get away with putting some of our bag in as well, depending on how heavy some of the kit we've gotten. So we'll put this together and we'll look at putting the canoe onto the trolley and fitting that on. So this is nice and easy, that's why I like it, and that just locks in place. So just something what I've noticed on here as well is it has got the PS or the PSI to pump these up to on there. So if you've got a bike pump, you can tell how hard you want to pump these up before you go. You can get inner tube ones as well. They're pretty sturdy, good on tarmac or tracks, but can be quite lumpy bumpy and difficult on more awkward terrain when portaging. Cool. This one's quite nice. It's got a little kickstand that I can stick out and ready for my canoe. I'm just going to stick that next to my canoe. Once I've got it round about the middle of the canoe, I can then lift it up from one end, or if I've got my friends with me, I can lift that on then as well. And we're aiming probably for me around the middle, and we want to try and get it so that we've got it in line with the canoe. So if I look underneath, I want the portage trolley to sit level. So I'll come and show you what that looks like just now. So if we look underneath, we can see that the trolley isn't quite even. So I'm just gonna play around with that a little bit in the middle. But we can see the carry yoke in the middle there. We're almost central with that, so it doesn't need too much tweaking to get that just right. Cool, so I'm pretty happy with roughly where it is at the moment. Nicely, this one comes with a strap loaded on already, so I'm just gonna get that locked in place. If it comes with one, I would recommend fitting it with another one. So I usually carry another strap, usually one of the ones I've used for loading my canoe onto my roof. And so I'll show you just where I'm going to fit this on. So under here, you can see the other bar that's not fitted on. Just going to tweak that round. And I'll get that sorted on the other side as well. Right. Cool, so we're pretty locked in now, and we'll just start to push the canoe back and forth and just see if we're happy with the direction that it's going in. And I'll tidy up some of these straps just so they don't flap about. Cool, so we can see the canoe's naturally going one way or another because it's not quite dead centre, but this is where I can start to use my bag. So we talk about trim on open water or on the river, where we put weight in our boat. I find it a really useful thing to play around with when I'm portaging, particularly on a trolley, because it can make all the difference between feeling like you're lifting all the kit, or the trolley wheels and the body of the trolley taking most of the weight. So you can see just there the tipping of the canoe starting to happen. We're probably about bang on with weight distribution there. So I'm gonna take my canoe for a little push now, and for me the advantage of pushing the canoe is I can see where my canoe's going and my trolley wheels are going, and if there's lumps and bumps and rocks, then I can steer my wheels in around it as well. So I'm pretty easy. Push works really nicely, but for a lot of the time I find I need to change between different styles, between push and pull. Particularly if it's going up a steep hill or a bit of a hill, then pushing from behind can feel quite hard. I actually like to go into pull mode. So for pulling, there's a couple of options that I've seen folk try, or I've tried as well. You've got a 5 metre line, usually for lining your canoe down the rapids, or tying it up when you pull over to the side. Easy option is you could try kind of wee knot here, and we can just clip that back onto the bow here, and then I could carry pulling this along here just a bit like so. But this is where I'd say the trim of the boat really makes a difference, because if I pull this along now, I'm probably going to find that the stern of the canoe drags along the floor, so I might need to move some bags around just to get this right. You can see I've moved the bags around and this is now dropped over the way, but I can lift it up actually, and that feels alright. So we'll go and take this for a bit of a test run, and I can just pull this along behind me. And if I get the balance right, that feels really alright, it's quite nice. But yeah, if the bags move around or the weight changes, then suddenly I'll find myself having to pull the bow down and stop the stern from smashing on the ground all the time. So it's really about playing with balance, this one. So just a little variation on this one. This is my go-to one. So if you're happy with a clove hitch, just getting exactly this loop you've made here at the midway point up here, I'm going to get my clove hitch here sorted, and I'm going to clip that onto a carabiner here that I've used to clip the rope on. And what I should end up with now is 2 even loops, and I'm going to use those to go over my shoulder like a rucksack, and I quite find it quite comfortable. It spreads the weight over my shoulders. I can evenly spread it, but I can also lift and drop the canoe should I need to if I'm going across an obstacle up a hill. So I can just wear it like a rucksack and pull it along. So I'd say the times where I don't like that one as much. One, if it's really lumpy bumpy terrain, I need to steer my trolley around. But also if you're going downhill, the canoe keeps wanting to run downhill into the back of your legs, which can feel quite frustrating. So sometimes if it's going downhill, I'll go behind and I can control it on the way down the hill. So that's our short video on portaging and packing bags for portages on here. So takeaway points are definitely try not to pack too much, check your trolley, check the wheels, bring 2 straps to really secure that trolley to the canoe, and I think the other one would be to have a couple of tactics for using your trolley and spend the time getting it right, because it shouldn't feel too challenging. If you get the weight right, get the position of the trolley right, it should feel like the wheels are doing most of the work for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.